Captain Ibrahim Traoré became president of Burkina Faso in September 2022. He was young, only 34 years old then. This made him Africa's youngest head of state. His country had seen much political change, people were looking for a new direction. Traoré stepped into this moment of uncertainty. He brought with him a promise of change. His arrival signaled a shift for the nation. Many wondered what his leadership would bring. The eyes of the continent and the world turned towards Ouagadougou. His core message was one of self-reliance. President Traoré spoke often of this idea. He believed Burkina Faso needed to stand on its own feet. This meant reducing dependence on foreign powers. He particularly emphasized independence from Western influence. This included France, the former colonial ruler. This powerful message found many listeners. It resonated deeply with young Africans across the continent. It also struck a chord with those in the diaspora. They heard a call for true sovereignty. The emphasis on national sovereignty became a cornerstone of his rhetoric. President Traoré articulated a vision where Burkina Faso would reclaim its destiny. He spoke of forging a new path, distinct from the past. This was not just about political independence, it was about cultural and economic freedom too. He urged his people to believe in their own strength. He encouraged them to build their own future. This narrative of self-determination offered hope to many. It suggested a departure from old ways of governance. This vision garnered considerable popular support. People took to the streets in Ouagadougou. They marched in solidarity with his leadership. These demonstrations occurred even after an alleged coup attempt. There were also accusations from foreign military powers. Such events seemed to strengthen his base. Many young Burkinabés saw him as a revolutionary figure. They hoped he would bring genuine transformation. Some international reports suggested this popularity was also fueled by external information campaigns. These campaigns portrayed him as a champion against undue foreign influence. President Traoré's government began to shape economic policies. These policies aimed to center on local resources. The goal was to move away from external dependency. This shift is a difficult one for any nation. It requires sacrifice and patience. Yet, the leadership presented it as necessary. Necessary for building a truly independent economy. The idea was to harness what Burkina Faso possessed, to use its own wealth for its own people. This path, though challenging, was framed as the road to true economic freedom. New tax reforms were introduced under the 2025 Finance Act. These reforms were designed to increase domestic revenue. They included a 2% withholding tax for individuals on teaching duties. Non-salaried manual workers were also included. Public and para-public entities faced a 5% withholding tax. Employees in public and private sectors and non-salaried intellectual workers had a 10% rate. E-commerce sales saw an 18% VAT. Accommodation and catering services along with domestic air transport incurred a 10% VAT. These measures aimed to fund public services. They signaled a move towards relying on taxation, not just natural resources. Education has been highlighted as a significant area of focus. President Traoré personally honored teachers and students. This occurred during an event called Academic Excellence Day in August 2024. 150 individuals received recognition. Awards included certificates and motorcycles. Super Teacher Awards totaling 5 million CFA francs were also distributed. He commended the education sector for its resilience. He praised their efforts despite ongoing challenges. This was a clear gesture of support for human capital development. It showed an intent to value learning and teaching. The broader aspirations for education in Burkina Faso are ambitious. The government speaks of striving for quality. It aims for greater accessibility to learning for all citizens. The vision is to build a knowledgeable future generation. This generation would be equipped to lead the nation. Empowering citizens through education is a stated priority. While specific policies like universal free education are not yet fully detailed, the commitment to improving the sector remains evident. The focus is on creating a strong foundation for the country's youth. This, it is hoped, will secure a brighter future for all. There is a stated commitment from President Traoré's leadership. This commitment is towards improving the daily lives of Burkinabe citizens. Healthcare has been identified as a priority area. The government has expressed goals for better access to medical services. They aim for improved quality of care across the nation. Ensuring the well-being of the population is a fundamental duty. The leadership understands this. Efforts are being directed towards strengthening the healthcare system. This is a long-term endeavor requiring sustained investment and planning. The people hope for tangible improvements in their health prospects. Agricultural development is another critical focus. It is seen as key to achieving food security. Burkina Faso, like many nations in the Sahel, faces food challenges. The government has outlined plans to support farmers. The intention is to enhance local agricultural production. Boosting yields and improving farming techniques are part of this vision. The ultimate goal is self-sufficiency in food. This would reduce reliance on imports. It would ensure that Burkinabe people have enough to eat. This focus on agriculture is vital for national stability and prosperity. It touches the lives of a vast majority of the population. Infrastructure development is also part of the long-term vision. Better roads are needed for connectivity. They link rural areas to urban centers. They facilitate trade and movement. The government has spoken about such projects. Local processing of natural resources is another area of interest. For example, developing cashew refineries within the country. This would add value locally, instead of exporting raw products. These infrastructure initiatives are envisioned to boost the national economy. They aim to create jobs and foster growth. They are seen as building blocks for a stronger nation. The challenges in these crucial sectors are undeniably significant. Resources are often limited. Decades of underdevelopment cannot be reversed overnight. The journey towards comprehensive welfare and development is ongoing. It demands persistence and strategic planning. However, the ambition of the current leadership is clear. They aspire to build a stronger Burkina Faso, a nation that is more self-sufficient, a country where citizens can see tangible progress in their lives. The path is set towards these important national goals. President Ibrahim Traoré has consistently voiced a strong stance on Pan-Africanism. He issues frequent calls for African nations to unite. He believes unity is essential for the continent's progress. His vision includes liberating Africa from external pressures and undue influence. It is about African people taking control of their own narrative. He urges fellow leaders and citizens to work towards this shared destiny. This message of continental solidarity resonates with historical Pan-African ideals. It speaks to a desire for a more assertive and independent Africa on the world stage. In line with this vision, Burkina Faso has been forging new alliances. It has also re-evaluated old ones. Along with neighboring Mali and Niger, Burkina Faso severed ties with the regional bloc, ECOWAS. The country also distanced itself from traditional Western allies, notably France. Simultaneously, there have been efforts to strengthen relationships with other global powers. President Traoré, for instance, visited Moscow. He attended the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany. This indicates a diplomatic shift. It is part of a broader strategy to diversify partnerships. Despite these diplomatic efforts, Burkina Faso faces severe security challenges. The situation within its borders remains deeply concerning. Reports indicate that violence has worsened since late 2022. This is despite the leadership's promises to address the crisis. Large parts of the country are reportedly outside of effective government control. This insecurity has led to significant human suffering. Over 2 million people have been displaced from their homes. Nearly 6.5 million citizens require urgent humanitarian aid. This internal conflict overshadows many national aspirations. The path ahead for Burkina Faso and for President Traoré is undoubtedly difficult. There is a delicate balance to be struck. The nation must assert its sovereignty. It must also effectively address the pressing security crisis. Working with regional partners remains crucial for achieving stability. The dream of a united and prosperous Africa endures. It is a dream shared by many across the continent. Other African leaders too are increasingly discussing the need for continental strength. They explore ways to enhance collaboration for a brighter collective future, even amidst complex obstacles.